Okay, next up I'm going to show you what's called the outliner. Now the outliner, quite simply, is this bar on the right hand side. It is the easiest way to summarize the goings on and the most important parts of your empire. Now you can see here I have a set of planets. So these are what I consider my key system, my key planets essentially. So I've left them on my outliner. Now how you leave them on your outliner? Well, for when it comes to planets, if you are directly controlling them, as in you haven't added them to a sector, you have them appear on the right hand side. Now that is one system at a time. So if one system has 10 planets in that system, you'll have all 10 planets on the right hand side here. They can be set up in such a way that you go to them. So for example, I double click this one here, instantly takes me to the spaceport. So I've upgraded the spaceport on here to be a battleship shipyard. Essentially, it's one of my go-to systems, one of my go-to planets for when I want to build my fleet. So quite easily, I go to here, I build one battleship, go to the next one, build one battleship, and the next one, build one battleship, so on and so forth. Well, this one isn't actually set up, but you get the point. Because it's much more efficient to have, say, 12 planets, as I've got here, producing one battleship rather than having one planet produce 12 battleships. Otherwise, that planet is just going to produce them one by one by one by one. Whereas if I have 12 planets doing it, yes, it's a lot more clicking involved, but on the flip side, it means that all 12 battleships are going to be finished near enough at the same time. Right, the planet section does also show you where the planet is. So, for example, this planet, Therilisi, and Utopia Prime are in the solar system of Utopia. The Lab Tidarm is in Salathama, Taramba is in Taramba, so on and so forth. Boibos, I have 3 planets in Boibos. If I click on any one of these, I can double click. It will take me straight to that world. So nice and simple, there is this very, very pretty world. Now, it also gives you a summary as to what type of planets they are. So for my empire in this game, I'm actually running a machine empire. So it doesn't really matter so much. If you're playing an organic empire, it will matter a lot more. So for example, I have converted most of these to machine worlds. So if I just double click and zoom in, you can see this is a machine world. It's actually mostly robotic, essentially. Here we go. Machine world, rocky world covered with artificial structures. The thin atmosphere consists mostly of industrial pollutants and is not capable of supporting biological life. This planet purely exists for my machine empire. It's not really suitable for anyone organic. Depending on the types of world for an organic empire, some will be happier, some will be sadder. Depending on the types of world, their happiness is affected by the habitability. So while ultimately it's not going to matter so much if it's on the outliner in showing you what type of world it is, sometimes it's handy to add worlds that have issues with unrest, ones that are of particular strategic importance. So if they're right on the border of an enemy empire, sometimes it's easier just to double click and quickly jump to that is. So you can go to the map and say, oh, look, these red guys are about ready to attack. They're sitting right on the border, kind of thing. The next thing along is habitats. Now, on here, habitats are essentially artificially created worlds. They can be built in orbit of any celestial body that can't inhabit or can't actually have life. So, for example, I have Venus here, which is a toxic world. But in orbit, I actually have a habitat. Now, a habitat is literally like a planet. It does have a series of tiles. It doesn't have a huge amount of them. All habitats are the same, as you can see here. They don't have a huge variety of types of tiles, but they are blank tiles, so you can essentially put anything you like on it. So this one here, you know, if I want more minerals, I'll just tell them to build an astro mining bay. So there we go. That tile is now producing 4 minerals. It's just an easy way of, again, navigating the same way as planets. Habitats are a little bit more restrictive in the sense they can't have spaceports, so they're not really as useful. Sometimes, once my habitats are fully built out, there's everything on it. So, for example, like this one, once all of these were in that same position, if you just hit the habitats title bar, it just minimizes it down. Okay, the military fleet section. Now, the military fleet section of here just shows you the fleets that you have across the galaxy. Now, you can send these fleets wherever you like, straight from this window. You don't have to manually go down into wherever the system is and give them a new route. Quite simply, you just left click on it. So, for example, these guys are, as you can see, it's showing me in my home system. They're actually all in the same system anyway, but you can, from this screen, just left click them once. If you double left click, it just takes you straight to them. So if you lost them or you want to see where they are, just double click. And if you double click again, it will show you the actual position of them within the solar system. But going back to it, you can tell them to go anywhere in the galaxy from this screen. You can also see roughly how many jumps it will take. So for example, this fleet, this armada of ships, will actually go 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps, and then it will reach its destination. So it's just useful information you can convey to your allies to say, I'm only 4 jumps away. I'm not going to be too long. I'm going to be traveling quite quickly. It's also handy for this screen that pops up. So from this screen, you can control if you want to attack a particular target, you control the stance of the fleet. So you can say if it's passive or aggressive, and you can choose the type of ground support. Now, ground support is used for attacking planets. As you can see here, depending on the type of ground support that you're using, there is full, there is light, and there is limited. Now, light essentially just kills the fortifications on the planet and nothing else. Limited, as you can see, kills the fortifications on the planet. Also, there is a 2% chance that every population, 2% chance that a population on the planet, is killed, and a 5% chance each month that a building is destroyed on the planet. Or you can go up to the next one, which is full, which gives you a 4% chance each month that a population is killed, a 10% chance each month that a building is ruined, and a 3% chance each month that a tile blocker is created. The full stance, essentially, if you're attacking, is going to be the fastest way to remove the fortifications from a planet. So if you're under a lot of pressure, if there's an incoming fleet and you want to do as much damage as possible, the full stance is the way to go. It does affect your whatever other empires think of you. They don't like necessarily the type of warfare that you decide to choose, but hey, that's tough luck. If you're a machine empire like me, generally you don't really care about anybody else. So 4% chance to every month to kill a population, that's not going to be so much an issue to me because they're just going to be assimilated anyway. A 10% chance each month that a building is ruined. Well, I may decide that I'm going to destroy all the buildings on the planet surface anyway, so that doesn't bother me. And a 3% chance each month that a tile blocker is created. So if, for example, I want to declare war on another empire, and I don't want to actually take a huge volume of their actual empire, what I can do is send my fleets, go and attack their planets with the full stance on, and then when the war ends, those planets, yes, they may go back to that enemy empire, but if there's a 4% chance that a population is killed, or a 10% chance that a building is ruined, or a 3% chance that a tile blocker is created, it means that they have to deal with each one of those 3 different things before they get the full use of that planet back. So it's going to cost them resources to rectify those problems. Now, the other thing with the military fleet screen is leaders. As you can see here, there is no leader in this squad, but if I come down to the next one, there's actually a guy in charge of the fleet. Now, if you click on the window when there is no leader, it'll actually take you to the admiral screen, so you can assign a leader. So, for example, this fleet here, I can assign this guy to it. Why do you want to assign a leader? Well, if you mouse over him, you can see he has several traits. At the moment, he increases the fire rate of the fleet by 5%, he increases the combat speed by 10%, and a further 5% for the next attribute, but he is done with his experience gain. He has what's known as arrested development, so he's not actually going to become more experienced, which is fine if your guy has reached the maximum level that you want him to be, or you just want a disposable admiral if you think that fleet's not going to survive much longer, but you just want to give him a little bit of a boost to do as much damage as possible. You can assign an admiral to that fleet. And that is the military fleets section.